What up, Laker Nation and NBA world? It's your boy DTLF back with another video. We are currently live. You guys have voted. I put up the polls this morning on YouTube and Twitter, and the majority of you guys wanted me to react to ESPN and Fox recent videos on talking about the Lakers. As we all know, they can be extremely biased, and so I'm here to add some objection to that and just different opinions and talk to you guys as well. So this is gonna be a two-part video. You guys also wanted me to do Q&A, so I'm gonna mix that in there right after we break down the videos together. But how y'all feeling, man? What's good? Good morning. What's up? What's up, everybody? So let's hop right in here, man, and let's talk about first take. First takes first. I haven't seen this video, but I randomly selected a video from YouTube, and looks like this one was trending. So the first take one was Stephen A. and Max Kellerman talking about the Lakers. And pretty much I want to bring it in here and let's break it down together. Let's see what they have to say about the Lakers going up 2-1 on the Suns. And like I said, after I break down a couple of videos, one from ESPN, one from Fox, we will be jumping right into some Q&A. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's play the video. Let's see what they got to say today.
Did LeBron and AD prove that they are the best duo in the NBA?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because they're going up against a depleted Phoenix Suns team that clearly is not the same without their leader, their floor.
What? Oh my God. Stephen A. already starting with the BS. He said we're not the best 1-2 punch in the league, that we haven't proved it yet. Really? We're the defending champs and our two superstars are looking dominant to start the playoffs, which is not even as the most dominant we're going to look. So we're just getting it going. What's up, man? What's up? So I think it's hilarious how Stephen A's already started with the baloney, talking about Chris Paul's injured. Hey, we've been injured all season long, and you guys still try to discredit us. So no excuses. Stephen A, I'm disappointed you're already coming with this hot take.
General, the point guard extraordinaire that is CP3. His name is Chris Paul. That's number one. And number two, they haven't gone up against the Brooklyn Nets yet. So I guess if you want to go by default and look at their past history and say that they've proven that, fine, so be it. But this year, talking strictly about this season, and
hold up, what the heck have the Brooklyn Nets proven? What the heck have the Brooklyn Nets proven that we have to go through them? No, Stephen A, microphone head ass. The Brooklyn Nets have to come through us. Last I checked, we're the ones with the trophy. So other way around, buddy. Get it right.
What they've got to go up against, I reserve the right to wait until they go up against Lethal Weapon 3 in Brooklyn. And oh, by the way, you know what? I mean, we don't know who they're going to face as the Western Conference continues forward. Utah is no joke. I'm paying attention to that. I'm watching Denver with their victory over Portland last night. I'm looking at a few things right now. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are elite. They are all world. We get that when 100% healthy. But I've been questioning their health for quite a while now, their durability, for obvious reasons, and I'm still questioning that right now. So I'm looking at it from that perspective, and I'm saying I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach because Phoenix is not the same Phoenix team they were in Game 1, not since Chris Paul got injured.
Oh, my God. You can clearly see the narrative, guys. There's always against us. There's always an excuse. There's always we have to go through somebody as if we're not the defending champs. It's always, oh, Chris Paul's injured and they're not the same without him. Newsflash. We have injuries all across the board. LeBron James came into the series injured. Anthony Davis almost hyperextended his knee when he got that block on Devin Booker. KCP, we still don't have an official word on him, but word has it he should be all right. He got injured and was out for the rest of that game. Are you kidding me, Steven? That's your take? That's why LeBron and AD aren't the best two? Please.
And I feel sorry for Phoenix. I really, really do.
Feel sorry for Phoenix.
One question. I just need a quick answer. Before Chris Paul got injured, who were you picking to win the Lakers-Suns series?
Lakers in 7.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that was
in 7?
Harrell and Dennis Schroeder. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are the best combination in basketball.
Thank you.
Best 1-2 punch in basketball. It's the best 1-2 punch since the prime Shaq and Kobe. The only contender between then and now is KD and Steph in Golden State. We're talking about the all-time topmost echelon 1-2 punches, LeBron and AD. And while your injury point is a valid one, even just last night, AD hyperextends, he hurt his knee, what happened? LeBron was so aggressive. Early in the game, I thought maybe his ankle's bothering him. I don't know. He got much more aggressive in the second half. But even with those concerns, Stephen A., you and I were both on the same page before the playoffs started as it relates to the Clippers and the Lakers, right? Hey, if the Clippers are really ducking the Lakers because they hope that the Lakers get a little more worn down and the injuries get exacerbated, and that gives the Clippers an advantage later in the playoffs, is that the best idea? Or is the best idea to catch the Lakers cold before?
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Max always makes my points. I actually always agree way more with Max than Stephen A. The Lakers, I've been saying this for the longest. You know, LeBron and AD, the best 1-2 punch since Kobe and Shaq. And here's the thing. We're the defending champions. We're battling through injuries, been doing it all season. And this point is very valid. It's no wonder the Clippers avoided us because they know better. They know better, you know. While ESPN was fooled all season long with the Clippers' regular season success, you know, the real diehard basketball fans know exactly what the Clippers are going to do. And even though they won yesterday, I still think I'm not impressed. They are the favorites to come out of that Dallas series. But if Luka can complete the task and eliminate them, all hell's going to break loose on these Clippers and their bandwagon fans like ESPN and Fox. So I'm looking forward to it.
Where they get ahead of steam. And we both agree, catch the Lakers cold. Because once they get going, it's a wrap. Utah and Denver aren't beating this Lakers squad with LeBron and AD.
Thank you,
Not
Max.
only are they great offensive players, like all-time greats, they're great defensive players, as Kendrick Perkins pointed out on this show the other day. No, the best 1-2 punch in basketball is LeBron and AD.
Thank you.
Well, let me say this to be clear. We shouldn't even be talking about LeBron and AD as a dynamic duo against this Phoenix Suns team because their only formidable frontline player is playing in his first playoff series ever in DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, shut up. Oh, my God, Stephen A., I wish I could box you on the show. This man is so full of baloney, making excuses left and right for the Phoenix Suns. Oh, it's the first time ever DeAndre Ayton's been in the playoffs. Oh, Chris Paul's injured. Last I checked, they were the number 2 seed for a reason. All right, put some respect on the Lakers' name, Steven. What the heck? Really? So all of a sudden there's some scrubs and they don't have this playoff experience, so the Lakers don't deserve credit? Man, I don't want to hear that. Shut the hell up, Steven. Oh, my goodness.
Last night, and that's about what he's averaging throughout this series. This is his first playoff series. We know that Phoenix is significantly undersized. We look at the girth and the mass of the Los Angeles Lakers with Andre Drummond along with AD and LeBron.
Okay, that's why you build in the offseason. That's why our front office is better, because we go out there and get the size. I've been preaching size all year long. And now you see what the advantage of having size does to your team. So why are you going to penalize the Lakers and their greatness for the lack of front office IQ on the Phoenix Suns part? It's not our fault they want to go small and just have DeAndre and a bunch of power forwards. How are we to blame for that? By the way, number 2 seed in the West, they overachieved in the regular season, and we're coming in with no home court advantage. We stole home court advantage from them, and now Stephen A.'s making all these flippy-floppy excuses. You know what? He doesn't even deserve to get this video reviewed. I think I'm done with Stephen. I think I'll move on to Fox now because this is utterly ridiculous, guys. I can't believe this is what the man says. All like he gets away with these takes. Ridiculous, man. Let's move on to the Fox take where Nick Wright calls out Charles Barkley, and let's see what they have going over here on this show, because what Stephen A. really says. And what do you guys think? I'm gonna head over before I move on to that video. Let me head over to the comment section. See how y'all felt. Do you guys agree with me, or you think Stephen A. has a point? We shouldn't be judged in this series because Phoenix is unexperienced and injured. Like, really? He said, Dan, go easy on Stephen A. He hasn't slept after Kwame clapped back. That's what I'm saying. Kwame has exposed this man. I already didn't have too much respect for Stephen A. All right. He claims to know it all, but he never admits when he's wrong. He's clearly, I don't know why he's hating on LeBron James and Lakers, but something's off here because he refuses to give us credit. We are the defending champs and we're showing up, even though we've been injured all year and battled adversity. How come we don't get our side of the story told? So, you know, that's the biggest thing for me, is that this is why I don't watch a lot of ESPN unless you guys suggest me to break it down, because it's stuff like this. Takes like these are biased. You have to be real, whether you're a fan of the team or not. You have to keep it 150. Okay. And people think because I always trash the Clippers, I don't keep it 150, but nah, I keep it 250. I trash the Clippers because I know exactly what they're going to do in the postseason. It's not for my hate for them. I gave them credit when they had a surge and Rondo. So, you got to keep it real whether you love or hate the team, especially when you're on national television. You have to say the real stuff. He says Stephen A is mad because he's a Knicks, because his Knicks lost last night. He's on his period. That's funny, bro. That's a good comment right there. But I'll tell you this. The Knicks did it to themselves. I love the Knicks, and they're my second favorite team in the NBA. But the fans, spitting on Trae Young, chanting he's a bald head, and not keeping it basketball related. They could have said you suck or let's go Knicks, or they could have been passionate in other forms where they uplift their team instead of trying to put down a superstar or a star player. And now it's coming back to bite them because Trae Young is breaking them down. This is why I'm a big fan of the kid. Even though I love the Knicks, I'm disappointed in the way that fan base has reacted. Not all of them, but some of them have reacted in their first playoff appearance. And karma always comes back to bite them. You would have thought they learned from the whole Reggie Miller situation. When Spike Lee was over here chewing out Reggie Miller's ear and he came back and destroyed. But anyway, back to the subject. Let's get back to this whole Nick Wright. I haven't seen it again. I'm reacting to it for the first time with you guys. I love it. It's more authentic this way than if I prepare for the video and watch it beforehand. So let's see what Nick Wright has to say. Usually he makes some good points. And let's see, he's supposedly calling out Charles Barkley. Let's see it.
Back here with Chris Broussard. First things first, Lakers Suns, Game 3. And in the ongoing will he or won't he show up debate, Anthony Davis chose the former. Showed up in a big way, 34 points, 11 rebounds for the Lakers. And yet, the Suns hung around. That is until LA.
Brandon Marshall is worse. I agree.
Look, we also talked about CP3, if he was going to go. He ended up playing 27 minutes, but only 2.5 minutes in that fourth quarter when they really needed him. So, Chris Broussard, let me start with you. This series
I agree, Jameson.
Is now over.
Yes, it's over. Now, let me be honest. It was over before it started in my eyes. It was over before Chris Paul got injured. I not for 1 minute thought that the Suns were going to be able to beat the Lakers, and I've said as much. All right, and Brandon shot me down. He ridiculed me. He mocked me. All of that stuff. But I told him his
Brandon Marshall, man,
did not have.
like, no disrespect. He's a great football player, but he should really just stick to football because he said some really questionable takes about salary cap and he's had so many crazy takes. So I don't even know if he understands the game of basketball at this point.
Have a chance in this series. The Suns this is great for them because DeAndre Ayton is coming of age. Devin Booker's getting his first taste of the playoffs. So this is going to bode well for them.
What's up, Donkey Donk?
But this series is over. And the reason it's over is because the Lakers beat the Suns in a way like that you can't just write off. They didn't edge them. They didn't get a big shot.
We dominated them.
They didn't get hot from three,
in the paint,
which anybody in the league can do.
With our size.
So the Suns can brush that off.
Look, he's right. We dominated them in the paint with our size, which is exactly what I wanted us to do all series long. We finally did it in Game 3. That's why it wasn't a close game. We have mismatch advantages left and right, everywhere on the floor. Nobody can really guard LeBron or AD for that matter. So they're going to go off. Now, it's all up to our role players to step up. And we've had some major contributions from Dennis, so major props to him, and Andre Drummond, also major props to him. So that's the reason we really blew them out. But he's right. We keep using our size and our mismatch disadvantages to destroy them. We're Gucci.
They beat the Suns in a way that the Suns and really hardly anybody else in the league can counter. They use their size. They overwhelm them with their size. I've been saying it forever that if you're going to go big and play Andre Drummond and Anthony Davis and LeBron James on the front line together, then play big. Don't just go big,
bully
but
ball.
then drive and kick and shoot threes all the time and be finesse like all the other teams in the league.
Absolutely.
Use your size.
That was a nasty move by Brown right there.
And they did it last night. 58 points in the paint. That's 14 more than they had in either of the first two games. Heck, in the first game, they were outscored in the paint by the smaller Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that was not acceptable. That's why we lost.
The third quarter, when the Lakers really took over, they scored all 13 of their field goals.
Thanks, Donkey. Appreciate you, bro.
In the paint. All the other points outside of the paint were at the free throw line. I mean, that's when you demoralize a team. when you just pound them in a way that what can they do? They're not as big as you. They're not as strong as you.
Absolutely.
And that's why in Phoenix's mind, they just got bullied, and everybody should see now that this thing is over.
And I called it when we were down 0-1. I said we got too much size, too much star power. There's no way they're beating us in 7. They got lucky with 1. Their fans were wilding out talking about Phoenix in 4 and stuff. I was like, wow, you guys have a lot to learn, man. But I'm glad this is the first time in a long time I actually agree with Chris Broussard and everything he said for this take. So let's see what Brandon Big Head Marshall has to say.
Chris, you're tripping for real. You take CP3 off of that team, you have nothing.
More excuses.
I know he played, in the first game, went down in the second quarter. That's when they lost this series.
More
23
excuses.
minutes, 6 points. Come on, that's not a performance that you would expect from CP3. Obviously, he's hurt like everyone knows. Last game, 27 minutes, 7 points. Come on, man. Let's not act like CP3 hasn't been, top 5 clutch players the last 3 years. This is statistically proven. Look it up. Google it if you want to. This series was their series to lose, and they lost it with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter in the first game. If CP3 was there, it would be totally different.
No, it
now,
wouldn't.
you are right.
No, it wouldn't, because you have to look. When CP3 went missing, who stepped up and had enormous games for them? Cameron Payne. So basically, if CP3 was in, Cameron Payne probably wouldn't have been in. It would have been the same production or less. So we still won. And you really went in the paint. That's where the battles are won. And defensively, we're number 1. Brandon Marshall has to know his stats. He has to know his stats. We're number 1 in defense efficiency rating for a reason, okay? We did a great job of adjusting after game 1. We let Devin Booker cook us. We let DeAndre Ayton cook us, and we have adjusted. We have adjusted, and that's the biggest difference in the series. But, of course, like you per usual, why I don't usually watch these shows unless I'm trashing them like now, is that, per usual, they don't want to give us credit ever. They just want to build a false narrative of excuse making when we have all the excuses in the world, right? We had to go to the play-in tournament. We had to battle through adversity, injuries. Everybody knows we have a target in our back because we're defending champions. And we didn't have home court advantage in the first round. But yet, they have all the excuses in the book. Chris Paul's injured. Whoop-de-doo. He's still on the floor. As long as he's on the floor, no excuses. Now, if he was off the floor, okay, maybe I'll give you that pass. Okay, he's injured, so it should be easy dub for the Lakers. But he's on the floor. Guess who else is on the floor injured? LeBron and Anthony Davis, and potentially KCP, for the rest of the round. So we'll see. But Brandon Marshall, again, they don't like to give credit to the Lakers because they know that they're going to be wrong. All year long, they've been naysaying the Lakers. So, this is how experts put their ego, and their pride before facts, is they try to make excuses instead of saying, you know what, I was wrong about the Lakers. They're the real deal. And get on the right side of the train before you get your ass run over. Bottom line.
About the defensive side, that's one thing they could control. Watching that game, that was one thing that jumped out. Too many easy buckets in the paint. Too many breakdowns on the defensive side. Wide open. How do you do that? You saw Crowder, LeBron James playing with them. This is fundamentals. You give up the baseline, and then you see Ayton on other plays where you see LeBron James driving to the paint and barely contesting his shot. Like, what are you doing, bro? You're not in foul trouble. So please miss me with that, Chris, as far as the series was over before it started. Now, they look good last night. They look good the last 2 nights. The question, Wilds, is AD. Can AD be consistent? Now, this is back-to-back games with 30-plus points. And another telling stat right here.
Hold up. This is how you know he's a casual, all right? Just like those other casuals that were saying on the comment section after we lost game 1, trade AD, he's soft, all right? So this is how you know he's a casual. Can AD be consistent? He proved it last year in the bubble he could be consistent. He was arguably our best player in the playoffs. Arguably because LeBron was the other half of that, and you could have picked either one for Finals MVP. And he already helped lead this team to a championship, him and LeBron. So why is he still being quiet? What else does he have left to prove? The question is, can Chris Paul consistently stay out of injury because he's as fragile as Sean Livingston? Every playoff, series he tends to get injured. I'm wondering, can he consistently stay healthy? That should be the question. Now, no excuses, okay? You have to play. If you're out there on the floor, you have to play. AD had one bad game in the series and has redeemed himself with 2 monstrous games, okay? Don't talk about consistency. Everybody has a bad night, period. He said, you have to give Brandon Marshall a pass because he doesn't know. He said he's reporting what he's seen all season. He's not a basketball guy, so he doesn't know everyone's tendencies. I would usually agree with you, but I can't give him a pass because he's knowingly hating on my Lakers all season long. Go back and watch the clips. I haven't seen all year, but the ones I have seen, Brandon Marshall has been hating on the Lakers. And to me, he doesn't get a pass because if you're going to talk about it, you're going to get thrown in the fire. You know, like they say, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. You shouldn't be bringing up these type of negative points if you don't know what you're talking about. First of all, like I said, they're giving every excuse in the book to the Phoenix Suns when we've battled through more adversity this season, way more adversity, you know, and it's the same old story. We won the championship and we still have to fight for our own respect. This is why LeBron said we want our damn respect in the finals. Okay. This is why he says what he says.
We talked about this a couple months or a month ago. Was, look, he's having a terrible year. How did you know that? How do you go from averaging 80% from the free throw line to 60? I said, look, you're a shooter. You never lose that touch. I can go in the YMCA today and drop 70% because I was a 70% free throw shooter growing up, right? You got to say, oh, no, Brandon, you can't do that. And what ended up happening? I went in the gym, and what I did, I banged out 8 in a row. I was 80%. Now you look at AD last night. AD was 12 for 14. What is that? 80-something% from the 83%.
I can't wait to hear Nick Wright's take on this, man. Nick Wright, please destroy these clowns, please.
Oh, okay. All right. There's so many things to sort of unpack here. I'll try to make it fast. First of all, Brandon has admitted on national television that the hoop that he shot 80% on is not 10 feet because of a quote-unquote electrical issue at House of Athlete. There's some wiring issues that the hoop has been brought down to 9 feet. It was not 10-3. If it's 10-3, then it's still not regulation.
Brandon really needs to get smacked in the head.
To encourage Nick to continue his Carrot Top type escapades of bring props into the show. But not only is the brow back, the king is back as well. I don't know if you have a crown there as well in your trunk.
Thank you for some common sense on the show.
Because for 2.5 games, Nick, we saw LeBron playing super passive. We talked about him playing until he's 40 years old because he's playing like old guy in the Y. The first half of last game, he's playing like pretty easy, just distributing the ball on the outside. Then go forward to the second half, Chuck is like, man, I think LeBron's hurt. LeBron's like, oh, where do you think I'm hurt?
Facts, that's true.
He turned back into old LeBron.
Charles did say that. He's always putting his foot in his mouth, man.
If he is going to be this LeBron and sort of like warm up LeBron, get your teammates involved, LeBron is over, then we're starting to see like him moving into phase 2 of his playoff strategy.
Agreed. Yep. Just warming up.
I love Chuck in just about everything he does, aside from his basketball analysis.
Ooh,
unfortunately,
ouch.
Chuck,
everything
else. Ouch, I agree. I've been saying it. He's a clown. He's hilarious.
Like a goldfish, have no memory. Chuck, quite too often, is like a goldfish, as is the rest of seemingly NBA media.
Wow, like, shots fired.
What's LeBron doing? And the answer is, same thing he does every year. Trying to get his shooters going. Because the goal is not to win game 1 of the first round.
Facts. Thank you.
To win game 16 of the postseason. And in order to do that, you have to get your shooters going. So how about this for a stat? Which team has shot the most wide open threes of any team in these playoffs? The Lakers. And it's not close. They've shot 53.
I didn't even know that.
6 feet or more of space. No other team has shot even 43. Which team is right now, however...
Hold up. So we've shot the most threes than anybody by a large margin? That vogues really well for the Lakers because we're eventually going to start knocking those shots down. We have the shooters. I didn't know that. Shout out to Nick for the stat tracks. But he's absolutely right. Like LeBron's goal, the Lakers' goal in general is never to win game 1. Look at last year. We lost a lot of game 1s, but eventually we make the adjustments, which is what Hall of Fame superstar basketball players, generational talent level players like LeBron and AD do. They adapt. This is why it's so hard to beat them in a 7. This is why I'm never a prisoner of the moment after we lose game 1 and all these little trolls come to my little comment section to talk smack, and then they magically disappear after 3 games, 4 games, and then they're gone by 5th game. Okay? Because It is a 7-game series. This is why I love basketball. This isn't college basketball. This isn't the NFL where a team could get lucky and beat a better team. No, 9 times out of 10, the better team wins. Thank you, Nick, for pointing that out.
Shooting the worst percentage on open or wide open threes, 4 plus feet of space. The Lakers. LeBron knows to win the title, we are going to have to hit shots. So just like last year, folks were like, why is he passing to Danny Green so much? Drive to the basket, LeBron. It's because they're going to need him to win the title. It's mind-boggling that people still don't get this. Now, Brandon, I have a very quick question for you. When did you say this series ended? When was it? Because you were very precise with it. When did the
second
series
quarter
end?
in the first game, 9 minutes and 19 seconds in the second quarter, to be exact.
Okay,
wow, you
you
said
want to
that?
know when this series actually ended? December 30th, 1984. The day LeBron James was
Oh, shit, he
Once
got
that
him there.
happened, we were 7
Damn, okay, Nick. Okay, Nick. Talking shit, Nick.
That happened, it was over.
I love
It was
it.
over. They had no chance.
That's dope.
No, the Suns know it. Because, Brandon, the Suns...
He knew he had the birthday in mind and everything.
Well, no, I want to go back to the shooting thing, right? Because you're talking about, LeBron's trying to get his guys involved because he doesn't want them to look like, what was it, the 2016 Cavs, where
What?
LeBron got his team to the finals, and you had J.R.
2015,
Smith.
yeah.
Nobody, was it 2015? He's trying to do that, but it could end up that way too. Trying to get his shooters involved, and they just never get it going.
My God.
7 for 28 last night.
I just lost some brain cells listening to this bum. Did he really just compare us to the 2000 whatever Cavs? First of all, those Cavs didn't have a superstar like Anthony Davis. That's number one. My God, the disrespect they put on these Lakers. Look at this guy. He's making a stupid face right there where I froze it up because he's pretty stupid, man. That's ridiculous. Did this man really just compare us to the Cavs that had like nobody on it with J.R. Smith? Stop it. Stop with the disrespect. Anthony Davis is probably the best teammate LeBron's ever played with. You know, whether people like it or not, that's just a plain fact. You know, people will argue that it was Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade wasn't even in his prime when he went to Miami. So, you know, he was battling through injuries. He was getting older by then. It was not prime Wade who beat the Dallas Mavericks in 2006 with Shaq. So, by default, Anthony Davis is the best player LeBron's ever played with. So I don't want to hear these cavalier comparisons. Those are very lazy, low basketball IQ comparisons. Jesus, my goodness. This is how you know this guy doesn't watch basketball.
Like 25%. That Cavs team in 2015, if J.R. Smith would hit one shot, they'd win against the Warriors. He couldn't hit one shot. And who else did you have? I mean, Shumpert, defensive guy. But come on, man. This team right here, they need to get going because if they don't, they're not going to even make it to the finals.
Oh, wow.
Listen, they do have to get going. There's no question about it, but I think they will, particularly in the next round when they're playing either the Nuggets or the Blazers, who are not the defensive team the Suns are. And the Suns know it too, because the Suns have gotten to the place in the series against LeBron where you start saying irrational things. So we saw this years ago when LeBron was with the Heat and Danny Ainge was like talking about the officiating being so pro-LeBron, and Pat Riley sent that great press release saying Danny Ainge needs to shut the bleep up. We saw it in 2016 when the unanimous MVP's wife accused the league of being rigged for ratings or money because LeBron was driving her crazy. And last night you saw Chris Paul at the podium calling it a worldwide conspiracy, making Scott Foster the official because that's what's costing the Suns. Like, this is what happens when you get in a series against LeBron and you realize we can't beat him. You start going to the metaphysical realm, the conspiracy realm. You're like, it's all against us. It's like, no,
bunch of crybabies. And
that's what
and to Nick Wright's point, he's absolutely right, because when you can't beat him, you start making excuses. That's exactly what others have done. I mean, Chris Paul's the latest example. He kept saying 11-11 Scott Foster. It's like, bruh, we kept getting those calls because y'all were playing dirty, and it's clear as day, man. 2 of your starters got ejected. But of course, they want to run with the narrative that we get more calls than them. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. But again, it's all hate because they don't know what else to say. It's going to be excuse making from here on out. You know, it always starts out from when they win game 1 is overconfidence and they're going to sweep us in 4 to the Lakers or Mickey Mouse ring AD. And then that translates over to, Chris Paul was injured. Excuse. followed by, oh, the referees, the NBA loves the Lakers, blah, 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 blah. But to people that really watch basketball and watch the Lakers every single day, like me, we see a lot of the biasness that goes against us, and that never gets talked about. You don't hear LeBron James and AD complaining about our lack of calls we got. How about that play where Draymond basically almost poked out LeBron's eyeball, and everybody said he was flopping, he was Hollywood, and it wasn't even a flagrant foul. But yet the other night, Willie Cauley-Stein went for the ball and blocked. I'm not sure if it was PG or I forgot who it was. Terrence Mann or somebody. He actually blocked him yesterday, and that got called a flagrant. So there's levels to this hatred, man. And other fan bases will say whatever just to hate Mickey Mouse ring, cheaters, love fraud. It's not even creative. At least be creative, right? At least if you're going to come with jokes, make me laugh. Because I have a sense of humor. But they don't even make me laugh. It's just pathetic at this point. And now Chris Paul wants to look even more pathetic at this point with his whining. It's like, bruh, did you really think you were going to win a championship with the Phoenix Suns and over the Lakers? Stop it, man. Just stop it. Like, you know what I mean? Like nothing but excuse making and crying and whining and pouting. That's what we deal with. And these analysts don't help it because here they come with their excuse making.
Obviously knows the second LeBron James was born. Hey, can we take a turn?
Looks like they transferred over to another topic. But there you have it, man. Now we're gonna head over to Q&A. If you guys have any questions for me personally about the playoffs, the Lakers, the videos we just watched, whatever, man. Let them rain. Let them rain. I got y'all, man, for the next couple minutes. I'm all yours, and I'm combining two videos. My whole take on this situation, though, right quick before I do answer your questions, is the basketball IQ on some of these people is not even on display. If they know basketball, they're not showing it because they just like to talk smack and be right. But it only makes you look more ignorant. All right, questions. Hi, Dan. I'm aware you watched First Take video already, but there's another video about the Lakers for the prediction of who wins the NBA Finals. You want to watch it? If you want to watch it. I'm done with that segment for now. Maybe next time I'll dive a little more into First Take and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure, Stephen A is not going to pick the Lakers. He clearly already said we have to go through Brooklyn, so I'm not even shocked at his pick. Who you got, Bucks versus Nets? I actually got the Bucks. They got the size, they look poised. I thought the Heat would beat them and move on to the finals eventually, but they're smacking them. And they look like they really grew, and that's what you love about basketball. A couple of acquisitions, maybe some growth from their superstar. You can take them a long way. He said, Wes Matthews has been amazing lately. Yes, he has. Wesley Matthews, this is why we brought him here. We brought him here to do two things, play defense and knock down shots. If he can give us at least one of those two things, I'm happy. If he gives us both of those two things, there's nobody beating us at all. Period. Point blank. He said, hey, Dan, what's your dream finals matchup for this year? Dream finals matchup. Lakers. Lakers versus Celtics is always a high ratings because both of the teams have the most championships in the history. But my dream finals matchup would be Lakers versus Knicks, even though it doesn't even look like the Knicks might get past the Hawks thanks to their fan base and spitting and all that stuff. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, that's not my prediction. I don't think the Knicks had what it takes to make it to the finals anyways. I just thought they had what it takes to make it out of this first round. But it's a long shot at this point because Julius not showing up and he needs to be better. DTLF, how do you feel about AD before he came to the Lakers? I always loved him. People would ask me what I would give up in a package for years. They started asking me when the speculation started like a year before we got him. And I said, I'd give up everybody except one to keep one of the young core. And that's exactly what we ended up doing. So my train of thought is on par with the front office, and I'm happy because it didn't always used to be like that. You guys know from earlier my ranting videos when Mitch and Jim were running the show. He said, my dream finals matchup is Lakers versus Knicks. That would be dope. He said, Dan, if we play the Jazz in the Western Conference Finals, how many games the Jazz shoot really well and can defend too? I think that's the Lakers in 6. I respect the Jazz talent more than I did in the regular season. And Donovan Mitchell being back, I think that's going to help them get at least to the Western Conference Finals. But at the end of the day, if you stars win championships, that's the bottom line. That's the beauty of the NBA is you have to have the stars to carry you there, and we have those. Okay, they have one star player in Donovan Mitchell, and I guess you can call him a borderline all-star, and Rudy Gobert. We got two superstars. There's levels to this. So no matter, even though we're injured, we're going to power through it. And I have the Lakers in 6. Worst case scenario. I don't have any team in the West taking us to 7 at all. He said, all right, wanted to share. Here's what their prediction is. Stephen A. Nets has the Nets to win because of KD and Max. Picks the Nets because of James Harden. Kendrick Perkins picks the Lakers. What's your take? I mean, it's very predictable. Stars do win championships. However, you still need depth. And I don't see enough depth. I mean, just yesterday, Jason Tatum dropped the 50 burger on the Brooklyn Nets. And Jason Tatum's spectacular, but he's young. He shouldn't be dropping 50 if you're a championship contender. No team should drop 50 on you. No player should be able to drop 50 on you if you're a true championship contender. If Jason Tatum dropped 50, imagine what AD and LeBron would do. You know what I mean? In a 7-game series. So they'd be lucky to get out the East at this point. I have them bowing out either in the next round or the round after that, the Eastern Conference Finals. So we'll see what happens. If I'm wrong, then all the best. But I still have the Lakers coming out over anybody in the NBA because there's no 1-2 punch that's better than LeBron and AD. As long as we stay healthy, we got this. He said, Dan, do you think Trez is getting minutes this series? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I would love for him to do it at the 4 and have Mark at the 5, but coach is known to take players out for an entire series and then playing them in the next series. So we might not see him to the next series. He said, what's Gucci, my guy? What's up, Pixel? What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Feeling good. Just wanted to share a Q&A/reaction video with you guys today, and I think it's going pretty good. So thank you guys for showing up today. My boy said, Dan, AD has a left knee sprain. Laker Nation reported it. Yeah, I figured that's what it would be, but it's a minor level one. I think he'll play through it. I don't think it's anything major. It would have been all over ESPN and everything. So that's the good news. At this point of the season, we're battling through injuries. We got to play through them if you can. If you can't, then it's understandable. But the whole league is injured. You see they're trying to make excuses for Chris Paul. That's not going to fly. And we can't make excuses for our team. So we just got to go out here and play hard, and if we can only play him limited minutes, and next man up. But what I really want to see from the Lakers tomorrow, and I'm not going to cover it too much because I want to save some for pregame tomorrow, but what I really want to see is those role players, those key players, get those open shots and knock some of them down. Not all of them, but some of them. Give me at least, let's get over 32% three-point shooting. Give me at least 1/3 of the pine chart filled up, He said, DTLF, I'm a big Kobe fan, but when LeBron came here, I didn't like it, but I respect him. I'm just glad you respect him, Jordan, because, Kobe and LeBron never really had a rivalry. I think a lot of ignorant fans from each other's fan base missed the whole point, of having Kobe and LeBron. They never even faced each other in the finals. So there's no point of hating on LeBron. He's a great player, and we're blessed to have him. Players like him, a lot of fan bases wish they had him. Trust me. Every fan base we run through in the West and every fan base we've run through in the finals wishes they had LeBron. That's why they hate on him so much. And, he earned my respect. He was the first superstar to come here to LA. You have to respect. And now he earned my love because he helped bring a championship. He was a main pillar to bring a championship here to LA. And he helped bring Anthony Davis, which is huge. You don't get franchise players like that gifted to you. So we clearly won that trade, all right? To anybody still on the fence about, talking about, I wish we still had the young core. Young core hasn't won shit, okay? The young core, a lot of them haven't even made the playoffs. I mean, look at Brandon Ingram, Lonzo, and Josh Hart still haven't even sniffed the playoffs, even with the play-in tournament. So that tells you that we clearly, head and shoulders, won the trade. If the championship trophy wasn't clear enough for you, second year of them missing the playoffs and us still battling for a championship should tell you that. But bottom line is, I love LeBron, man. He's great. We're so blessed to have him. I marvel at his excellence, even through injury, those little turnaround jump shots, the way he gets aggressive when he needs to in his playmaking. He's such a cerebral player that he takes over the game step by step. So you got to love it. He controls the tempo, and everything is built around him. He said, Dan, thank you for the segment. I have been longing for this reaction topic. God bless you and the People's Channel. Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate that. I know what you guys want, so I'm going to try to give you guys more and more of it on the off days when the Lakers don't play. So, we'll be doing more of these, and I'll have you guys vote, because this is the people's channel. Whatever you guys want is the type of content I will throw out, man. So you're welcome, and thank you for being here. He said Kobe and LeBron are what? I'm not sure what you were trying to type there, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say it was a typo. What do you think of the Celtics actually preventing a Nets sweep? I said it. I said I don't think the Celtics have a chance in that series unless Jason Tatum drops a 50-burger, and he did that already. So I'm not shocked, to be honest with you, because Brooklyn is not really a defensive team. If the Boston Celtics have Jaylen Brown, I think we would be talking about a 7-game series. That's how low I think of Brooklyn, even though they got all those superstars or whatever. They're really thin everywhere else. So depth matters. All right. You can't just put 3 superstars together in a team and expect them to win. Ask the Miami Heat team that lost to the Dallas Mavericks and to the Spurs. Okay. Ask them, the Heatles, because they needed to go out and get veterans like Ray Allen to help them win the next year after losing their first year of forming together. That's exactly how I feel about Brooklyn. Brooklyn's going to have to overstack in order to win. And I don't think they have enough. We'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong at the end of the season. He said, DTLF, if the Celtics had Jaylen Brown, would the Celtics have a bigger chance? Yes. I think I had already answered this question in my last topic, but yes, absolutely. They would have had a chance. They would have at least taken that game to 7, because Boston actually plays defense, which Brooklyn doesn't. Brooklyn, where they overpower you in offense, Boston plays defense. And Boston can get hot offensively, especially with the All-Star season Jaylen Brown had. That's a big loss, man. And it's unfortunate for them. I really don't care. It's Boston. I don't root for them. I like Jason Tatum, and I hope he's a Laker one day, but I'll never root for the Celtics, no matter what. He said, sucks that Vogel don't give Ben a chance to shoot threes since we go ice cold. I agree, Albert, and this is where coaching, I always say Frank Vogel is a good coach, not a great coach. If he was a great coach, he would have played Ben McLemore, even if it's limited minutes, when LeBron is out there, because LeBron can create. And he draws a damn near double and triple team on command whenever he wants. So you need a knockdown shooter like that. If KCP was missing him, I would have been subbed in Ben McLemore in his place and had him knock down a couple for us. Could make a huge difference. Look, as soon as Wesley Matthews knocked down his threes, we went up by double digits, and the rest was history. That's what we need. We have wide open shots. LeBron is just trying to build these players' confidence. I hope KCP is okay, and he comes on board and starts scratching in this series and eventually, for the playoffs. So let's see. Jackie says, Dan, I thought Miami would win. I was wrong by a mile. I was wrong too, but it's not our fault, Jackie, because we were talking about the regular season Miami. They look dangerous. All right. Jimmy Butler has not showed up, just like Julius Randle hasn't showed up for the Knicks. So if your stars aren't showing up, no matter what the prediction is, no matter what the depth chart is, stars win championships. Okay. So Miami Heat stars didn't show up. Okay. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler have been almost non-existent in that series. And that's credit to Milwaukee, because I underestimated them, and they're showing me something here. They're showing me that they've grown as a team since last year, and I'm very curious to see where this goes, because I actually don't mind Milwaukee. If Milwaukee ends up coming out the East, I'd be really shocked. Still got Philly if it's not Miami. Remember my depth chart, right? I had Miami, I had Philly second, and then I had Milwaukee third, followed by Brooklyn fourth. So that's my depth chart still hasn't changed, even if the only difference is that my Milwaukee will move up to my first option if they beat my first option. So simple as that. He said, DTLF, I was watching a Nets game yesterday, and KD struggles against good defenders, I see. He still doesn't look 100% healthy. That's the truth. And they don't have a depth chart. They don't have a pecking order. They also go through dry spells like the Lakers do, scoring as potent as they are, which tells you they still don't have a pecking order, and we don't know who's going to go off every night, right? So we know the Lakers pecking order. It's LeBron and AD and then everybody else. All right. They don't know their pecking order. We don't know if it's going to be Kyrie being the primary scorer or James Harden or KD on any given night. So that can be a good and a bad thing. Bad thing because sometimes they could, struggle to find their rhythm if your top priority isn't going, and then, the depth chart gets all messed up. And again, they can't afford not to have 2 of their 3 stars going off every night. All right. And that's the key to beating them, is locking up, or not locking up, but slowing down at least 2 of their 3, allowing one to get off and the other 2 cutting the production in half. Any team that does that for a 7-game series is going to eliminate them because they don't have enough depth on the bench and the rest of the rotation to get over the hump. So this is why keep your eyes on Milwaukee. I'm actually kind of happy Milwaukee's dominating because I want them to be healthy and be able to do their homework on the Nets. By the time they get out of that series, hopefully it's a longer one. Milwaukee will be ready for them. And so I'm looking forward to it, man. These playoffs have been fun. I'll tell you that. Tonight's games on the schedule, though, aren't my favorite per se. But luckily, I got a movie to go watch, man. For those of y'all that haven't watched A Quiet Place 2, I'm going to go watch it tonight. So hopefully it's good, man. I'll let you guys know about it. The detail of how do you feel about Dennis, LeBron, and AD putting up 20-plus together? I love it. Because this is why we brought Dennis here. This is what I expected from Dennis. You remember, to start the season, I was extremely high on him. And then I jumped off the wagon when after the contract negotiations fell apart because I hated his body language. But I did mention this earlier in the year. If Dennis can change my mind in the playoffs, and it's still early, but if he could change my mind, then I would not mind giving him a contract extension of his $20+ million or whatever. But he has to continue to play through it like this throughout the playoffs, because if he does, then we're a way more potent offensive team than we were last season, and that spells danger for the rest of the league. But the key is consistency for him. Where Brandon Marshall used that word on Anthony Davis, I'm not concerned about Anthony. I know he's going to feast in a 7-game series. I'm more concerned about Dennis's consistency, and I hope he can continue to do this, because not just in this series, we're going to need him in multiple series moving forward. The same applies for Andre Drummond. Great questions, by the way. Love the questions, guys. We might have to do some more Q&As. It's really interesting. The detail of how do you feel about never mind. I read that one. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to the Nets on the road to a potential finals appearance? I think is their chemistry, since the trio wants the spotlight for themselves. I agree with you, Omar, but also their depth. Like I said, if 2 of those 3 superstars aren't going off every night, they're probably going to lose. Last night, I believe it was James Harden and KD that went off, and they still lost. Because they dropped a 50 burger to the best player on the floor that night, which was Jason Tatum, right? A 50 in the playoffs is not easy to do. That's why a lot of kids call this guy the Mamba disciple, and a lot of people want him on the Lakers. And I think that has a high possibility of happening because, he grew up a Laker fan, and he grew up a Kobe disciple, and he didn't have no choice over where he got drafted. It's just unfortunate we passed him up for Lonzo. We could do it all over again, I would definitely pick him, but it's irrelevant because he probably would have got packaged out anyways. He said, didn't the Nets and get Andre Roberson? Haven't seen him in a while. I don't know. To be honest with you, I haven't been watching the Nets games, okay? I'm not a big fan of either of those teams that are playing. If Jason Tatum can help the Celtics win another game, then I'll start tuning in, because it'll be interesting to watch if they can make that a series, okay? But it's going to take a lot for that to happen, because Jason Tatum is basically by himself. Kemba Walker, from what I've seen, hasn't showed up in that series, and they're going to need another scorer since they don't have Jalen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if, like I said, if they can win another one, then I'll start tuning in Game 5 moving forward. Jackie says, Dan, if the Clippers lose, where do you think Kawhi will go? I hope it's not Golden State. That's exactly where I think they're going, Jackie. It's always the teams you don't hope they go to that they end up with. I remember there was a bleak rumor of KD joining the Warriors in that offseason where he left OKC, and I didn't believe it. I was like, no way. That would be some chicken shit. And sure enough, what happens? What happened, right? He ended up going to the Warriors. Well, I heard a similar type background noise type rumor that if, Kawhi Leonard bounced from the Clippers, which most likely he will, that the Golden State Warriors would be front and center for him with a major trade package on a sign and trade deal. If that happens, that'll be tough to get over them, but I think we can still do it regardless. Hey, my boy Vic, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much for the donation, brother. He says, shout out to Derrick Rose. Hope he goes to LA or Philly next year. Derrick Rose, I'm glad you brought him up, man. One of my family's favorite players since he was with the Chicago Bulls. That brother has so much heart, man. He balls out night in and night out. And, after he tore his ACL and on both knees, everybody thought his career was over. It was so sad to see such a superstar, the youngest player to ever win an MVP, go down like that. But I am very proud of him, and I'm so happy for him. The kid is spectacular. He still has athleticism. He's still dropping 30 burgers in the playoffs. I'm just like, damn, like what a special talent. And you're right. I hope he goes to a team that can help him win a championship someday. But I'm happy with him being with the Knicks because they embrace him, and it's a good platform for him there. Elite, appreciate you. He said, "What do you think about the starting? What do you think about THC starting instead of KCP? Personally, I would love it. I feel like the kid is fearless, and yeah, he didn't have a good game one, and he hasn't seen the court much after that. But he's been very efficient for us throughout the season. He's had some big games. He even won some for us. He won 1 or 2 for us this year. So I would love it, especially if KCP's injured. But most likely, you're going to see Wesley Matthews, who I would also love in the starting lineup. I think I prefer Wesley for his experience. But you know what? Any minutes Taylor Horton-Tucker can get now are very valuable for his future because these are learning moments for him. He's getting thrown into the fire, and it's sink or swing time, right? And there's going to be a time when he's going to fully be left in the fire, and he's either going to sink or he's going to swim. So this is practice for that time because remember, LeBron's not going to play forever. Anthony Davis eventually is going to get older, and we're going to need this, hopefully by then, 24-year-old to step up and be a big-time player for us. If not, LA style is either you play for us good or you get traded. And I really don't see that happening in the future for THC because I think he's going to translate to the court. Great questions, man. And thanks so much for the donations, guys. Is Anthony Davis okay? Well, we haven't got any major reports that he's going to be missing any games. So I'd like to say, yeah. Hopefully he's okay. But at the same time, he's a little bit banged up. You can clearly tell he was struggling to even walk in that game. So hopefully, he feels better by Sunday. He got a couple of days off, so we'll see. DTLF, in your opinion, who's better in the playoffs, Giannis or AD? AD, because when Giannis goes up against an opponent that takes away that drive, that lane with their size, when maybe it'll be Philadelphia versus them in the Eastern Conference Finals, he's going to have to adapt and knock down shots. And so far in his career, he hasn't shown that ability. AD, on the other hand, when he has a horrible game like he did game 1 versus the Suns, he adapts, he got more aggressive, and eventually his jump shots start falling. So I prefer AD overall as a player. Overall. Now, people get fooled by the stats. Yes, obviously Giannis has had better regular season stats. He's been the MVP twice, while Anthony Davis hasn't. And we expected him to be the MVP this year. However, injuries plagued him. And I'll say this about AD. If AD was on his own team, like when he was with the Pelicans, he was in that MVP conversation every year in and year out. So Anthony Davis, to me, is the better overall player for a championship. Where if you want stat padding, then you're cool with Giannis. If you want amazing stats but not enough results in the playoffs, Giannis is your guy. If you want highlight dunks, you can go either way because AD could get up as well. Defensively, I like AD better. Offensively, face-up game, back to the basket game, and ability to stretch the floor and space the floor when he's on, I also like AD better. So overall, as a player, I'm taking Anthony Davis over Giannis. And you might say, well, you're just saying that because you're a Laker fan. And while that might have some truth, about 20% truth to it, the other 80% is basketball knowledge. And, AD's your guy. Dan Ticket TV said Anthony Davis might not play. I don't know who this guy is. You guys keep mentioning him. I refuse to go watch his videos because I heard he was a Laker hater. So I don't know what you guys are doing over there. But at the end of the day, he's nobody. All right. He's not Mike Trudell. He's not Orjanowski. He's not anybody. So take that with whatever grain of salt you want to take it with. And then throw that in the garbage because it's probably not true. He said, how do you think Paul George will perform after Kawhi potentially leaves the Flippers? Do you think he would step up to fill Leonard's sized hole in the organization? Absolutely not, Omar. Paul George is not the player he showed to be yesterday. That was a once in a blue moon type game, and I don't expect him to have another one like that in the series. This is the player that showed up yesterday for the Clippers is the player they paid the max contract to, and I believe that's probably his best game in his career. And but I don't think he'll do it again. He hasn't shown the consistency, and they should be very disappointed with him. I'd be sad if I was a Flipper fan. The sound of that just makes me want to throw up. But I'd be sad if that was the only player left on my roster, and you can't trade that huge contract off unless it's a salary dump. He said, Dan, who do you got, Chivas or America? I'm a Chivas guy, man. My mom's from Guadalajara, so my family's Chivas all the way, man. Imagine Kawhi joins the Lakers. That's not going to happen, Jackie, because A, we don't have the cap space, and B, he already missed on his opportunity. I believe in karma. It's going to come back to bite him. He tried to sabotage this, and as a result, you see him not even getting anywhere close to the finals when he could have been a part of a dynasty, and we could have been four-peating over here. We're probably going to 2 to 3-peat anyways without him, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, Kawhi to the Lakers is not possible anymore. Not after LeBron took that major extension, and so did AD. We don't have the cap space, and I don't think the fans should want him. He's very personality-less. He's not very Laker material, okay? He's Spur material. He's Toronto Raptor material because, you know, they're pretty much in the background. And he's definitely Clipper material because they're way in the background. They're the shadow team of LA. I mean, every other professional sports team and non-professional sports team in LA is better known than the Clippers. So that should tell you everything. Kawhi to the Bucks or Heat. I could see him going to the Heat or to the Warriors. I don't see him going to the Bucks. I'm not sure if they have cap space. They also paid Drew Holiday major money. They paid everybody over there, Chris Middleton and Giannis. So remember, there is such a thing as cap space, and you can't go over the cap to sign max free agents. No. That's a no. Curry to the Lakers will never happen. I'll finish that sentence off for you, P-Win, because I like you, man. But Curry to the Lakers will probably never happen. Although I shouldn't say never because we are the Lakers, but I just see Curry as a lifetime warrior for life. For life. He said, wow, the Heat got swept. He said, damn, they're a little bit scary, but still can't take us Lakers. I don't know who they is, but I ain't scared of nobody, Bill. Nobody. He said, Woj just posted a statement from AD saying there's no chance that I don't play tomorrow. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Those are the sources you guys have to listen to, not whatever TV, whatever you guys call them. Kawhi to the Hornets? No, that won't happen. He doesn't want a small market. He wants a big market. He wants a big market. You want to know what would be a good look for Kawhi? And I'm not sure if they have the cap space or if it will work out, but the Knicks, because Tom Thibodeau is a defensive first-minded player. Can you imagine him, Derrick Rose, and Julius Randle? That would be a tough team over there out east. I would love to see Kawhi go to the Knicks. That would be fun. And I could actually root for him again because, man, I hate him on the Clippers. My boy got the Knicks coming out the East. That's a impossible shot. That won't happen. It will not happen. He'd had a chance to win Game 4 to stay alive. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap for the Heat. It's not the same year. It's not the same team that played in the regular season. And got to give credit to Milwaukee because they have been phenomenal. I'll take a couple more questions before I get off, guys. I'm about to head out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I just want to say special thanks, especially the donators and the people that smash the like button. Thank you, guys. But everybody, man, just showing up and making this a good start of the day for me. It's always fun talking hoops with Laker Nation and other NBA fans that come on here. So thank you, guys. He said, DTLF, in my opinion, AD is the best defender in the NBA when healthy. I can't argue that at all. I cannot argue that at all. I agree. His length, his versatility, his speed for his size is spectacular, and his wingspan. And he knows how to use it too. He said, Knicks are up and coming, strong team, but not going far this year. I absolutely agree with BMG. Let's go Lake Show. And on that note, I'm about to head out, guys. But thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I'll see you guys right here tomorrow morning. Remember, the game is earlier, 12:30 Pacific time. So my pregame is probably going to come at 11 a.m. So you guys will see a very sleepy, very lazy DTLF. Now I'm just playing. I should be up by then. And hopefully everybody has their coffee and is ready tomorrow for the Lakers to go up 3-1 on the Suns, man. Looking forward to it. Muchas gracias. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.